Welcome to this episode of the Comedy Defect podcast. My name is Winter, I'm a comedian, and this is my show. Those that are new to the show, welcome. Those that are old to the show, thanks for coming back, guys. This is episode 99. Get a flake, get ready for the summer. Yes, that was an ice cream reference. This is with Ashley Gorman. What I love about doing this podcast is I get to meet people who've put the work in. I put a shitload of work in the last 10 years. And I just love meeting people that have really just put their nose to the grindstone and done so much. This guy has laid it all out there and has succeeded. He's just such a lovely fella as well. He's the kind of guy that comedy just happens to. We talk about that in this episode as well. He's online as Ashley Gorman, and you can find him in all the places. He runs two very successful comedy nights. He runs one in South Kensington and he runs another one in Fulham. He's on all the social medias, Ashley Gorman Comedy. Go check him out there. I'm not going to talk for too long, but this is going to be a short intro for this conversation we had for just over an hour. So I hope you enjoy it and go and check him out and go and support his night. He's a lovely fella and he also runs a pub now in Tottenham. So this is episode 99, Ashley Gorman. Enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if I told you, I'm all right now, but I got corona Christmas Eve of all the times to get it. And I live in like an old Georgian house. It's like quite a big house share, right? With like 12 people, including me. So there's a lot of us here. And we decided on Christmas Eve that we was going to have, we're all from different ethnic backgrounds. So we decided we was going to have a thing where we bring dishes from all of our ethnic backgrounds. And we had this dinner Christmas Eve, and we don't know who, but one of us, or a couple of us, must have had the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Because then the whole house got sick. It was crazy. We all had it. Like, well, there's a couple here, they went to Iceland, and when they got to Iceland, one of them tested positive and the other one was negative, but then a couple of days later he tested positive, so they went away for a week and ended up having to stay there for 2 weeks because they had to quarantine.
Whoa.
And I was in my room and I got it worse than anyone. I was wrecked, mate. I'm telling you, that coronavirus is no joke, man. I'm telling you, like, I was in bed, like, I felt like there was like one night I felt like I was going to die. There's no exaggeration. I didn't take it serious before ever, you know. And then once you get it, you're like, this is actually happening. Like when it happens to you, you know what I mean? It's mad.
So you come out the other end. I mean, I heard that it's like a second wave of it, like physically, after you're coming out of the virus itself, right? You kind of just feel down and you get another kind of bout after you feel you're getting better. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know how mine went, right? So I was fine on the 24th because that's when I got it. 25th, I thought, I'm coming down. I'm saying 26th, I thought, I've got the flu coming. 27th, 28th, 29th, I thought, I'm a bit hot. You know what I mean? Come New Year's Eve, I was like, I've definitely got the coronavirus. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I went to like, it's really crazy, right? I don't know if you've seen them. They've got these like drive-through tests, but I walked through because I don't have a car and I'm on a drink driving ban.
Right, fair.
So I done the walkthrough. I walked through and sat down quickly. They give it to me. Within like 48 hours, I had a positive test. But you know when you just know. The strangest thing was, I got the positive test. I think I got it on the 2nd of January, and then on the 3rd of January, that's when I lost my taste, lost my smell, couldn't get out of the bed. I was like, like I live at the top of this house, and I've got an ensuite, and I was so wrecked, I had to drink water from my bathroom because I couldn't get down the stairs.
Man.
You know? Yeah, it was bad, man. Yeah, and like you said, that you feel a bit better, and then you feel like you feel rubbish again. Now I'm feeling back to normal. I've got a personal trainer coming around tomorrow.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Going to do some boxing and stuff. So like, yeah, I feel because it gets in your lungs as well. So like my lungs, I had to wait for a week from when I started feeling better for my lungs to get better. Like just going down the stairs was a freaking killer. But now I feel like back to normal.
You feel like an old man, like, just trying to like breathe. Yeah.
Crazy.
And like, so like, have you got asthma as well, or on top of that?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help either. Being overweight, I got asthma, and then being overweight, and plus I've got a heart condition as well that I had from years ago. So the coronavirus was just having a field day with me. Yeah, I was this ideal candidate to mess up.
Have you managed to write any jokes about it or anything, or is it still too kind of new?
Do you know what I've been doing, right? Like during the last lockdown, I was writing a lot, but this lockdown, I've actually been, because I'm doing a film degree, but I plan to do a master's in screenwriting, and my passion really is screenwriting. So I've been really concentrating on the screenwriting. Like I'm reading 2 books at the same time at the moment. I bought 10 new books. I'm reading Screenwriting by Sid Field and
Yeah.
The Art of Dramatic Writing. I can't remember the name of the author, but I'm reading that,
Yeah.
and plus I'm writing as well, so I'm doing that. Funnily enough, the script I'm writing at the moment isn't comedy; it's a drama.
That's cool, man. Well, that's good. So, where are you studying this screenwriting course?
A place called My Bedroom.
Of course, yeah.
No, it's such a joke. It was actually a good university, but University of London.
Yeah.
I was studying a film degree there, and then of course Corona came. They decided to put it all on Zoom, and now it's just a complete shit show. Like it's no good. I'm doing it on Zoom. I was saying to a classmate of mine, because we've got a WhatsApp group. I feel like everything I've learned this last year and a half, I've learned from self. Like I'm self-taught.
Yeah.
Like I've learned it from YouTube, and I've learned it from reading the books. I don't feel like I'm getting
value
a
for
very
money,
good
mate.
stand. No, I'm getting for £9,250 a year.
Fuck.
We are student, and it's every student in the country is being fleeced.
Yeah, man.
We are being robbed. The standard, the teaching, like I'd have to record one on my phone and send it to you so you get the drift of what I'm talking about.
They are literally the definition of phoning it in, isn't it, really? This is it, man. Like, they don't give a shit, do they? They're just doing their hours and getting the fuck out of there. They're so apathetic like everybody else in the world at the moment. They don't want to be teaching over Zoom. And you're still paying the same price. They should at least cut some stuff off that big chunk of $9,000 there to give it back to you.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's what they should do. And also, the screenwriting tutor, he hasn't got the facilities at home. You have to sometimes watch like a few clips, and he was getting his mobile phone and aiming it at his son's Mac.
Oh my God.
And streaming it to us. Yeah. Oh, it was crazy.
Like you're teaching a course which is technical. At least show that you've got some skills and could potentially work in the industry, so we can look up to you, so we've got something to aspire to. Oh my God. That's kind of depressing, mate. You might as well just done the masterclass.
Yeah, I would have been.
Yeah, man, they're cheaper as well. I'm sorry, man. I'm not making this any better. This is not good. But yeah, so how many years you got left in this course? Is it just a 1 year or?
I got from October. I've got one more year. So this October coming till July, and then that's it. I graduate.
That's great.
I plan to do a master's. I want to go to NFTS, National Film and Television School in Beaconsfield. I want to do a master's there.
Great.
But I need to get a scholarship for that. So I need to. That's why I'm trying to develop a good portfolio at the moment.
Have you got anything in the pipeline you're going to be filming? Maybe hopefully when everything thaws out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm supposed to be in a taster for this pilot. I can't remember the name of it now. It's from Rust. I should know that. It's from this new pre-production company called Rusty Penny, and I've actually got a part in that as one of the leads.
Nice.
I was supposed to start shooting that January, like this month, but I haven't heard anything from them. I've got to drop them an email. I was going to do that, and then there's another thing that I'm writing, sitcom, that we're going to shoot a taster for in like May or June, and that's with a girl that works for Lip Sync Productions, which is they're actually a big company, a post-production company. They've made like quite a few good films that I like. Wee Man, Rise of the Foot Soldier. But they've got quite a lot of stuff on there they've done. So she actually just emailed me asking me where's my first draft.
That's great, man. That's great.
It's well overdue.
When is it supposed to be in by?
About 9 months ago.
Oh, fuck. Hey, mate, like you're so busy on social media and stuff, but like that is only the half of it, man. I wanted to speak to you because I first met you when you like started doing all those gigs all over the place before you started up the one which we'll talk about in a bit. You'd like set up a load of venues and you just started in comedy and it was going great because you got a great backstory about how you set up South Kensington and then Fulham Comedy Club, and like, so where did it start, mate?
I was going through a divorce. I went to Thailand during my divorce, as you do. That's a good place to go cheer you up. So I went for 3 months, and the plan was to go there. I went to a fight camp, one of these Thai boxing.
Is it Tiger Camp? Did you go to Tiger Camp?
I went to one next door to Tiger Muay Thai.
Yeah.
I went to the one next door to there. I stayed next door, but was meant to train there. I only trained once. That's what I actually done. And I only trained once and ended. I went there to get fit and get in shape, and I went there and just partied for 3 months to get. Then I was in a bar and I was down, and this guy come up to me, and his name's Chris Kelly. He says, "I see you in this bar every night," and he's like, "You always seem down." He says, "What's the matter?" I said, "I'm going through a divorce, blah blah blah." And he said, have you ever heard this fella called Joe Rogan? And I was like, no, I've never heard of Joe Rogan in my life. He said, when I was down, I used to listen to this fella called Joe Rogan. He gets these great guests on, and he has these great philosophies and stuff like that. So after the 3 months, I came back to England, and I was still feeling down because I'm going through I'm not. Now I've got the divorce downer and the holiday downer on top of that. So I came back to England, and I started staying at with my mum and my nan again, which is a downer in itself because you're back home as a big grown adult. And then I started thinking about that conversation I had with this guy, Chris Kelly, in this bar. So I put on the Joe Rogan show on YouTube. He's had Russell Brand on twice, but it was coincidentally when Russell Brand went on there first, or he'd just been on there. And then they were talking about comedy. And this was like about 11 a.m. in the morning. I put this on, and it was a long old podcast. I think it was a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah, they're long.
So it finished at 1 p.m. I wrote my first 5-minute set at 1:05 p.m. I finished it by about 5 p.m. and then I googled open mic shows, right?
Yeah.
And it came up with that bar run by the Lions Den, or Comedy Car Crash. It used to be run by Tim Rendell, bless him. He's now dead. Rest in peace, Tim.
Good man.
Yeah, and then I just got on the train after not going out for ages, and I just went and done my first 5-minute set in Bar Rumba in that, and that day was a really good supportive crowd. And then I ended up moving. This is how around about the time I ended up meeting you. So I did a couple of open mics in London, but then I moved to Watford, to a hostel in Watford I was staying. And of course, there was only like in Watford, and there wasn't anything regular. There was like yellow comedy, and then that was it really. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So then I had a background years ago when I was younger in music promotion and being a DJ. So I kind of had like the hustle and that from there. So what I'd done is I approached a couple bars in Watford, and we started doing Malloy's. Do you remember that Malloy's?
Yeah, yeah.
Doing an open mic, a ropey open mic at Malloy's.
Yeah, I remember it well, man.
Yeah. That was such a ropey open pub.
It's a difficult room to play.
Yeah, big time. And then Oddfellows.
Yeah.
In Hemel Hempstead.
That's a nice little room, man. It's a nice the guy that runs it is such a lovely fella too, man. That is it. Yeah, that's 5 minutes from where I live, man. It's amazing. It's great, you know.
Yeah, and that's it. And then I was doing them, and then I spoke to the people at the Comedy Loft. It's just the Tonic, but it's run by Stonesgate. And I spoke to the guy there, and I just blagged it and told him that I'd been going for years and stuff. I'd been going for like 5 minutes, and he gave me a gig there, so I was doing them gigs there.
Yeah.
But then what happened was I ended up, for some reason or another, I've ended up in a hostel in Chelsea, in Fulham.
Yeah.
So when I ended up in Chelsea in Fulham, I was still a driving instructor as well. And I drove past the Hoop and Toy pub, which is where South Kensington ended up being. And I told my pupil at the time, I had a pupil with me. I was like, quickly pull over, handbrake, mirror, neutral. Yeah. So we pulled over. And I've run in and I spoke to the manager, and we ended up agreeing. Like, he said that he's normally got guys that do comedy there, but they're having a break for the summer because of Edinburgh and it's been quiet and stuff. And I was like, I could get it really busy in there. So we did our first show in August, and it just really, we were supposed to only do I asked could I do 5 nights a week, and we ended up doing 7 nights a week. And because I was so far from Watford, I ended up, and Hemel Hempstead, I gave them gigs to Peter Merriman. I gave them gigs to him, and then I just concentrated on South Kensington. I mean, for the first, the first year and a half, it was hit and miss. By the time we got to when we had the first lockdown, March, the pandemic, we was busy all the time. It was really good.
Banging. It's a banging room, man. It's great. It's I heard that there was, we were going through the divorce and all that stuff, and kind of getting through that. And I heard that you were down your luck, man, because you're staying in these hostels, and then you ended up having to stay there as well in the venue. Is that right?
Yeah,
that's it, man.
Yeah.
That's it. That is putting everything on the line, man. I love it. You just living, breathing, just staying in the room of comedy.
Yeah. Do you know, that came about a little while after? So I was at South Kensington, and I was staying at, by the way, that hostel as well. I only went to stay in that hostel in Chelsea, Kensington, for a couple of nights. But it turns out that the owner was from Dublin. Of course, I've lived in Dublin. I'm half Irish. My family live in Dublin. So we got along great. And he was like, we're looking for someone to do comedy. And I said, you're not going to believe this. He said, what? I said, I'm actually a comedian. That's how it came about. Because I started doing shows at the hostel as well. He had to sack his manager, and he was like, "Do you want to be manager?"
Yeah.
So I ended up there for 2 years at that hostel, and I was running South Kensington. I was running the hostel, and also that's when I met this girl, and she lived in Surrey. So temporarily, I started going to Surrey and commuting in for the comedy at South Kent. But then the reason why I ended up staying in the comedy club is she just kicked me out, like no notice. Just after I paid her rent, like she's like, "I want you out." I was like, "Yeah, can I at least stay till the end of the month to pay you?" She's like, "No, I want you out tonight." And I was like, my family have all moved to like Brighton, Cambridge. The general manager of the Hoop and Toy at the time, Nigel, he just said, "You know what? If you want, just stay in the comedy room on the floor." So I got this Pikachu sleeping bag, a Pokemon one, and I'd stay in there. And then like sometimes I'd have an early night. Like the show would finish about 10. Everyone would go, and because the function room weren't in use, I'd get my head down about 10:30,
nice.
and then I'd wake up and there'll be all these drunk people wandering in with beers, and I'll be there in the floor like this little homeless guy.
No.
And then in the morning, you used to have to get up at 6 a.m. every day because the cleaners will come in. They come in at 6 a.m. The cleaners, so you heard your cleaner alarm, and of course there was no showers. And then I joined the gym, and although I'm overweight, I only joined the gym just so I could use the shower, and I never worked out there. Do you know what I mean? So I was doing that for a while. And then eventually, after about 6 to 8 weeks, I found a room. Do you know what I say to people? When you're going to rent a room in London, right, the clue is always in the price. So this one was like £400 a month in West London. Straight away, there's something wrong with it. And it turns out it was the landlady. She was just crazy.
Oh, man.
So like I moved out of the comedy club. And was staying there, but she was just like.
Tell me some of the stories, man. What is this? I've got this landlady story for you as well in a bit, but go for it, man.
Well, the first time she's like, I've walked in, she's gone out. I told her what I do, and she's Googled me. And I don't have videos up now, but I used to have videos on YouTube. And she said, "I saw your videos and you like it. Because if I want to call you a fat cunt, I'm going to call you a fat cunt." Right. And she said, "If I want to call you a Nigga, I'm going to call you an Nigga." Yeah, do you know what I mean? And I was like, okay. And my mate was like, "Didn't you say anything?" It's actually ER. That was a Tupac song. It's Nigger. But that was a Tupac song. I was referencing there.
Right. Nice.
So anyway, and my mate was like, "Did you say anything to her?" I was like, "No, for £400 a month, she can call me what she wants." You know what I mean? And I was skint at the time. It was a choice between putting up with the racist landlady or going back sleeping on the floor.
That's right.
And I thought I'd just handle it, But then it was constantly like that. She'd have all these different scallywags around there. The final straw was after about 6 or 7 months later. After I've come downstairs to make a cup of tea, and I've stood in shit. And it was human shit in the kitchen by the kettle on the floor. And I was just like, "Oh, you know what? That's a wrap for me. That's it. I'm getting out of here." You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So I Googled studio flats, North London, to be by my son. And now I've moved over to North Finchley, near where my son lives. I actually moved 6 weeks into lockdown. So I've been here since April the 24th.
Oh, nice one.
And I'm happy here, man, apart from the fact I just got corona.
Oh, that's fair. Well, and you live with 12 other people as well. Geez, that's a busy house, right?
Yeah, it's a very busy, massive. I mean, I'm on the very top of the house. I've got an ensuite. It's like a studio, so it's sweet as for me. Like it's a nice living. On the middle floor, they're not en suites, but they're rooms. And then downstairs, there's like one self-contained flat at the front of the house. Then you go into the kitchen and the lounge. It's like massive, open plan with a big island. That gets busy down there because everyone uses it. Yeah. And then in the back, he's even built a garden. He's even bought a flat in the back. So there's quite a lot of people here, but. It can get busy in the lounge in the kitchen, but obviously I'm in my room most of the time anyways. It's all right. We all get along as well, which is unusual. Nice. That's really unusual. That we have parties, we give each other life-threatening diseases. And
that's viruses. Nice. The herd immunity is happening there in your house. I love it.
Yeah.
That's great. Nice one, man. So, like, what nationalities you got going in your house? You got yourself?
We've got me. There's a Polish couple, and then downstairs we've got a guy from Kenya, Lithuania, Argentina, Colombia, Romania, Albania, and England, and then me, Irish Caribbean. Nice. So it's quite a mixture.
But I think everyone's got a shit story of like landladies, right? I moved from Cork to Dublin years ago, but in 2008, I think. Yeah, 2000, maybe, no, 2007 or so. And
I was there then.
yeah. Whereabouts in Dublin were you living?
Whenever I say this, people go, "You never really went to Dublin." I lived in Dorky, the rich part.
Raheny. That's where I was. Yeah, Raheny. I was Raheny, and then I moved from Raheny to Rathgar. For a bit, cause that was, but I was paying. I got the small room. But luckily, I was the same with the cameraman who was like killing it at the time. He was like 18 years old and absolutely smashing it at life. Had his first camera credit at like 14, and like just mate was on his way, like, you know. And I was just like, all right,
Wow.
just trying to do comedy in Dublin, you know. And but yeah, so man, so like you came over. Why did you move from Dublin?
What happened was I went to Dublin when I got in loads of trouble. This is a long time
Right.
before comedy. I used to be like a street kid growing up.
All
So I
right.
got in loads of trouble here.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I had family. I was like, I need to go sort my life out. So I
Right.
thought I'd go to Dublin. But I go to Dublin after the Celtic Tiger, at the height of the recession.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everyone's on their fucking arse. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's broke. Everyone's depressed. Like, crying, you know, telling me about the good times.
Yeah.
And I've arrived at the bad times. It was just shit. It was a shit show. Like, I got this job. I used to drive like Gaelic football teams and stuff, and hurling teams around and stuff. I used to, because I used to have a bus driving license here, so I was driving coaches in Dublin. But then the work was too far between. You know, like I'd go ages without work. I went there first and then thought, oh, fuck this, I'm coming back. And then the guy said to me, the guy I was working for at the time, he was like, look, I've got full-time work for you, come back. So I came back here for like a week and then went back there. But it just ended up being a disaster. Like, I just didn't have work. But while I was there, that's when I started thinking about becoming a driving instructor. So I came back from Dublin to England I wasn't gone that long. I was only gone like 6 months. So I went in 2007. I came back 2007. By 2008, I was the driving instructor.
Man,
I did that for 7 years before I give it up for comedy.
how you described to me when you moved to Dublin, it's sort of like a gangster exchange program, isn't it? Really, like you're like, okay, right, I need to. All right, guys, things are getting a bit hot over here. I'm just gonna go over there and just cool off a little bit in Dublin.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Drive buses.
I just was involved in all sorts of stuff, weed and all that, you know, like here. And then I was like running up huge amounts of debt.
Yeah, it's
I paid
expensive.
it all back.
It's
Yeah,
expensive in Dublin. Yeah.
I paid it all back, but it was crazy. And then I went to Dublin just to sort myself out because I knew if I went there, I'd be away from all of that,
That's
know?
right. All the connections you have in, like, you know, your home base. I know what you're saying.
But the funny thing is when I went there, I ended up meeting people and I was drinking every day. And they kept trying to give me coke. And I was like, no, I've come here to get away from all of that. Like,
that's it, man. Just follow me, man. What the fuck is it about me?
Yeah, you can't get away from coke. That's what I've learned. It don't matter where you go. You can't. It's everywhere, man. It's everywhere. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was a good laugh. Even though it was a down, it was still a good laugh. Like, we was drinking every day. Like, even though no one had money, we still had money to drink. It was one of them ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone would have money. I met people, made some good friends out there. I actually lived with a guy that won the lottery. Yeah, he won the lottery and blew it all. I met him typically when he blew it all. But the good thing was he still had this great big fuck off mansion. So I was staying there kind of like rent free at one point, you know.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was good. And there was other people in the village, like there was Bono, Van Morrison, Lisa Stansfield. It was a right well-to-do village. I mean, I'm sure they go on podcasts and talk about me as well. You know?
But like, it seems to like, because like I say, you're so active on social media and stuff, putting like all your, you know, your stories you could pop up on Facebook and this. You feels like you are someone that stories kind of happen to. You know what I mean? Like you just like you attract kind of crazy stuff.
I do. I must do. I definitely must attract it because, like, you know, the good thing is as well. The good thing about that is people say, write what you know, and I started writing this script, right, and it was about something I knew nothing about, and I know I could have researched it, and then I had that come into my head, write what you know, and then I thought, you know what, I'm scrapping this, and I'm writing something I know about. So I decided. So the project I'm working on at the moment is called Diamond, okay, and basically it's about this bus driver. He fails a random drug and alcohol test, but he has a daughter to support and rent to pay, and then he ends up stumbling across vacancy for a security driver for an escort agency. So he goes to the escort agency and he gets this job, and he ends up being a security driver for escorts, and he ends up teaming up with one of the escorts, and it ends up being a load of madness. Now, what a lot of people don't know is the story is absolutely 100% true. I'm the bus driver. I'm the guy. The protagonist is me. Protagonist is me, except he's way cooler and better looking because I wrote him that way. But he's like, it's me. Basically, what happened was, you probably didn't know this because I didn't tell people. When I first started comedy, I would turn up to the gig with like 2 or 3 girls. They'd be with me, and they'd be escorts. I'd sit them in the front row, or they'd just go and sit at the bar, and basically they'd wait for me to do my set or do my show, and then after that, we'd jump in the car and go back to work, and I was like their minder. It's not like seedy. They're not being sex trafficked. They're all there by choice. I mean, I really got to admire the hustle of an escort. I'm telling you now, they are so clever. There's a line in my script, and I actually nicked it from what the lady that ran the escort agency said. Because funnily enough, the girl that I ended up becoming really close with when I was working for the escort agency, who the script's about, the reason why the script's called Diamond as well is because the agency I worked for was called Diamond Escorts. The first girl they put me with, they said, look, there's never been in trouble for years. You're with this new girl as well. Her name's Abby, and she's from Dublin. And I'm like, boom. I was like, sweet. That's like, straight away we got a connection. Yeah. And she was gorgeous. She was lovely, and she was a hustler as well. You know, first job we get. This is the pilot episode I wrote. This is basically what it's based on. First job we get. We're sitting there having a great crack, talking all about Ireland and having a laugh, and then the phone goes off. She gets her first client, and it's down in a place called Bletchley, right? Right. So I was like, okay, this is awkward. Yeah, down that way. I quite fancied her a little bit now. Even though she just got far, she's really nice. It's like we had a connection. Now it's really awkward. Now I've got to go and drive you to go. I like you. Now I've got to drive you to go and shag some guy. Yeah.
So many emotions going on. So many mixed emotions, mate.
Yeah, so she was new and she was a bit unsure about it. And one of the things the person who ran the escort agency said, a good escort will make a lot of money but hardly having sex with any of her punters. And a great escort will make a shitload of money by not having sex with any of their punters. A great escort doesn't have sex with their punters because they are hustlers and they know how to get the maximum. They know how to fleece you. If you've got £1,100, a great escort will fleece you for £1,100 and she won't even suck your dick. You know what I mean? Like, she's that fucking, she's so good at it, she can do it. And that's a great escort. And they're the ones that I mainly worked with. I teamed up with the hustlers, they would go in and they would just fleece you for your money. Wow. But this particular story, anyway, back to that story. So we've gone to Bletchley, and how it goes in, they explain to you how it worked. They're like, listen, right? So say to go to Bletchley, it's £130, okay? £50 goes to the girl, £60 goes to the agency, £20 goes to the driver for the first hour. Any extras is £100. That £130 includes a blowjob and straight missionary sex, right? Doesn't include anything extra. If you want to, even if you want to change position, you got to pay for it. Yeah. So so basically, so they explained to me. They said OWO. That's an extra £100. GF. I'm like, what's GF? OWO. It's like girlfriend experience. GFE. OWO, oral without, and it's all down to the girl's description. Anal, extra £100. The extras is 100% the girl's money. That's nothing to do with the driver or the agency. Any additional hours is £100, where £50 goes to the girl, £40 to the agency, £10 to the driver. So you're effectively on £10 an hour. Yeah. Anyway, so we get down to this first job. We're chatting, and I was starving. I've not eaten all day, and because I was with this girl. And I was quite big. I don't know why I was trying to pretend like I'm fat and I don't eat. So I was like I don't know. I was like shy to eat in front of her, so I didn't eat. And how it works? She goes in, she gets the money, she texts the agency, she calls the agency, then she calls you and says she's okay and she'll be out in an hour. I mean, in up to an hour, because if the guy shoots his load within 2 minutes, it's all over and that's it. Yeah, that's it. They have to pay again. You don't get it's not like unlimited goes in an hour.
You don't get free refills in it.
There's no refill. So on the way there, right, we see this Domino's pizza, and I'm starving. And I'm thinking do I go? And I thought, no, I'll leave it. I'll go. And she's gone in. She said she's all right. She's got the money. I've looked at the time. I thought, well, she's going to be an hour. I thought I've got time to get this pizza. You know what I mean? She said that she's safe. It's going to be an hour. So I've ordered this pizza. I hired a big old Mercedes for it. So I've spun this Mercedes around. I'm going to get this pizza. And next thing you know, Just as I get to the pizza place, she calls me and says, I'm in trouble. I need you to come and get me. Do you know what I mean? Straight away. Now I've got to make a choice between getting the Domino's pizza or going in and rescuing the girl. I tell you what, I've never ate a pizza so fast in my life. No, that's a joke. That's a joke. I didn't go for the pizza. Yeah. I left the pizza.
Right.
That's a new bit I've been working on.
Right, nice.
What I've done is, so I spun the car around. I've gone back. I've screeched up on the driveway. I've run up. I've opened up the letterbox, right? And I see this man. And he's like quite muscular, and he's got hold of her. And I'm going, mate, let go of her. I'm gonna have to kick your fucking door down, mate.
Yeah.
He said she's fucking shit. She won't do anal. Now this is 7 p.m. on a Saturday or Friday evening. Saturday evening. There's all people still out having barbecues in Bletchley. It's all quite green. There's people, and then I've had to shout through the letterbox, "Come on, mate. You know anal's an extra £100." And then I look to my left, right? And there's just this old lady putting her bin out, giving me this look. And I said, sorry about that, love. To you, it's £50. Nice. And then I didn't really say that. I didn't say that. I was embarrassed. You know what I mean?
Of course, man.
So I took a step back. He wouldn't open it. I've kicked this door open. It's like one of these old kind of like glass. It's more like a back door. It was more like a back door. It's open straight away because I'm quite a big guy. It's gone flying open. He straight away come running down the stairs towards me. And I'm telling you now, although I'm fat, this guy worked out. You know what I mean? So I'm like, fucking hell, what are we going to do now? You know what I mean? So I've just hugged him, like threw my arms around him, put my hooks into his legs, and we've fallen down these stairs, right? All the way to the bottom of these stairs. And like, I'm just holding on to him for dear God. She's calling the police. The girl's calling the police. And there's a screwdriver to my left, and I'm thinking, if I just get this screwdriver, I'm just going to try and dig in with this screwdriver. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I hear sirens, and, you know, it's crazy. No word of a lie. There's no word of a lie. They sent about 12 vehicles, yeah? 12 vehicles. Yeah, I got dragged. In the end, I've been dragged away. I'm like, what's going on? And it was the police, and they dragged us apart. It was just fucking, there was... like I said, no, 12 vehicles. He got arrested for imprisonment and kidnap. Yeah, that's a serious offence. It was real serious, you know what I mean? And then I got praised as a fucking hero. They let me follow him to make a statement to Hitchin police station. Right? And they was like, tell us how you met the girl. And I was like, basically, I met her on Gumtree and she was looking for a driver and I was just driving and all that. And this was my trial shift and I thought, I'm never going to get this job. We've all got nicked and everything. Yeah. Anyway, cut a long story short, we've come out the police station. The girl's been released at the same time. We get into the car and then straight away, Diamond Escorts comes up on the overhead thing. And I thought, oh, here we go. I'm going to get sacked now for this. They called me up. They'd already spoken to Abby, her name was a working name, it's not a real name. Like, they always spoke to her. And it was like that bit in Goodfellas, you know, like when you didn't rat on the mafia. Yeah. So they was like, you did a good job today and all that, you know. Most important thing, you kept the agency out of your mouth. They said, can you work tomorrow night? I said, yeah. And then the next night they gave me 3 girls. Oh, bloody hell, man. And then I always had 3 girls after that. You know what I mean? Nice. You're a stand-up guy. That's what it is. Yeah. It was all like that. I felt like I've been inducted into the mafia. Nice. And it wasn't like everyone was like, you're exploiting women. I'm like, trust me, they're exploiting me and other people. You don't know these girls. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there is a CD somewhere, underground trafficking, but this is a very well established agency. These girls know what they're doing. The one girl I'm talking about in particular, she owned a house. She has a salon where she's got people working for her. She goes around the world escorting. She is a hustler. You know what I mean? Man. It was always the same fucking... I got into many arguments like that, right? It was always the same argument. She won't do anal. That was the main thing. I remember I had the same argument. You know the Waldorf Hotel? Yeah. Me and this big Scottish guy, we've had a big screaming match because he's saying that he's not going to pay her the money because she won't do anal. And I'm having the same argument. I said, mate, we're doing this in front of the security guards now. It's happening. I said, look, it's an extra £100 and you are paying her the fucking money because £20 of that is mine. If you don't give me that money, I'll break your fucking legs.
That's it. It's a service, mate. It's a fucking service, okay? Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's it. Oh, man. You go to McDonald's, you fucking ask for extra fucking sauces. They will give you extra sauces for a fucking price, mate. That's what it is. Oh, man. Yeah. That's funny.
But then after a while, do you know what it is? I was just getting into comedy at the time. Like I said, I was bringing them with me. And then it just got too much for me because I'm not joking. Like you're on the road at 6 p.m. You pick the girls up by 7. You got 2 or 3 girls. And sometimes it can be quiet. So you're just sitting at your checkpoint. I'm sitting there all night, and then they'll get a job, and then they'll keep extending. And I might be out like, say, 6 p.m. tonight. Yeah. I could be out from 6 p.m. tonight till midday tomorrow or 1 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah. So, and then I was just feeling like rubbish. You know what I mean? I was feeling like crap. So I just jacked in the job in the end. I was like, you know what? I don't want to do it. Yeah. Don't want to do it anymore. But yeah, it was an experience. And like I said, I've written a show about it, you know, like, nice. I call it a dramedy. Yeah. Because although it's a drama, it's got a lot of comedy in it.
Nice. You know? That's great, man. Yeah. In fairness, like, and you want to know when your hours finish. You don't want to be like, oh, well, I'm going to be working for, oh, fuck me, this is going on. And you like, that's horrible. And you just never get a good night's sleep and never catch up, man. That's just debilitating. I mean, who wants to work for like X hours rather than you can just do 20 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes a night? Huh? That's it. Yeah, man, that's great. Do you remember then your first joke that you went up and did the lines then?
Oh yeah, it was awful. You know, it was a story as it goes. When I think about it now, knowing what I know now, I mean, it wasn't funny. It was just an interesting story. And I'll tell you what that story was. Like, basically, when I was younger, like about 13, my mum told me that she was going to marry the Sultan of Brunei. Now, at the time, I didn't realise my mum had mental health problems and stuff like that. Like, but I believed her. Yeah. So I believed her, like she was going to marry the Sultan of Brunei, who at the time was friends with Michael Jackson and the richest man in the world.
Yeah, right.
At that particular time. And everyone's like, well, why did you believe her? And I was like, well, let me break it down like this, right? When you're a child and you believe in Father Christmas, okay, you go to bed and there's no presents under the tree, and then you wake up and there's loads of presents under the tree. You're presented with all the evidence that he's existed, and that's all been brought to you by your parents or your guardians. You believe them. Like when you lose a tooth, right? You put your tooth under the pillow, right? You go to sleep, you wake up and there's like £10 there under the pillow. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's all the evidence that the tooth fairy and Father Christmas exist. Yeah. Now throw on top of that your mum's going to marry the Sultan of Brunei. Come on. Yeah. There's one guy there's a fairy that flies, a fat guy that rides reindeers and gets down chimneys, and my mum's going to marry the Sultan of Brunei. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty, like, you know, it's not that unbelievable if you believe the other two. You know what I mean?
It's a ramp up to it. Like, there's a ramp up, isn't there?
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was. It just. I believed her, and it was crazy because I started messing around at school, not going to school. I'm thinking I'm going to be rich, so I don't want to go to school. Have you ever seen Coming to America?
Yeah.
Coming to America. So I thought I was going to be like that. I thought when I was going to land in the island of Brunei, because she said we was going to go and live there. We had a date, a moving date and everything. Wow. I thought there was going to be this ceremony where they now pronounce me Prince Stinky Rich, like a knighthood, you know, like I thought I was going to have them servants, you know, like in Coming to America, the royal penis is clean, your highness. And all that, like, I thought that was, so I'm like, fucking I'm about to that life. I said, fuck school, I need school. Just told that story basically about that, how
you went in. She had you hook, line, and sinker, mate. That's it. But
and then it didn't happen.
Oh man.
Yeah, and then it didn't happen, and I was just gutted. You know what I mean? I was just gutted. I used to tell it, and it wasn't funny looking back at it. It didn't actually have like a punchline to it, right? But then I did retell it. I think it was on like my 3rd year in comedy. I retold the story, but I set it up like this. Like I was at a gig this is a true story. I was at a gig one day, and this comedian come up to me at the end, and he was like, you know what, actually, I ain't even going to lie, bro. He's like, he's only ever spoke to me on Facebook, like just typing. He's never heard me speak. He said, from looking at your pictures to meeting you in real life, you bare don't talk like how I thought you were going to talk, you know. You talk bare Cockney like a Danny Dyer, innit? You're talking like a Phil Mitchell, innit? So he said that to me. So basically, eventually, when I I set it up by telling that story, and then eventually at the end I told the story of the Sultan of Brunei on stage, and then I said, but how it really ends is the Sultan of Brunei doesn't turn up, obviously. But in the bit I done, the Sultan of Brunei knocks on my door, and I'm like crying, thinking that I thought he wasn't going to come and that. And he says, I'm so sorry. He said, like, your mother sent me many, many pictures of you. And then he says, from looking at your pictures to meeting in real life. So basically a callback to the first other for the first bit he said there.
Yeah.
So about the comedian saying it, I did that bit there, but it still wasn't funny enough for a bit I would do, you know.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's it.
I wouldn't want to do it now.
No, but that's all right. That's the beginning, in it. That's it, man. You got to just. I think everyone starts off with storytelling, you know, at the very beginning, and they go, right, okay, you put more punchlines per minute to kind of make it buoyant and keep it going, you know, and keep it floating.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We can say now. I ask this question every time I do this. Like, when you go up there, you know, as a comic, what do you like see yourself as, like, you know, when you go approach the stage? You know, do you have like a model archetype? You know, I say before on the show, I've had people say that they're like a first support IT technician, but you could be anything you want. You could be a mythical creature, you could be who you like, just whatever, an entertainer. But in your own words, what do you see yourself as when, like, you're going up there as a performer, or just you're Ashley Gorman, but is there something underneath that you model yourself as?
Well, I've given up drinking for like 3 months now, but before I was always drunk. I've drunk 99% of the time. So I was like just going up there as this, you know, like the drunk guy down the pub that has loads of anecdotal comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hey, let me tell you this one. Obviously, where I've learned over the years, my stories have punchlines now and callbacks and that, whereas like that salt and the brunei stuff, when I was telling that before, it's not even comedy at all. Yeah, so I was kind of more just like this drunk guy at a pub going up telling anecdotes. That's how I kind of was. But in my head, I thought I was like Richard Pryor.
Yeah, that's it. Telling the truth, telling your truth, my friend. That's it. I'm being real.
Yeah, yeah. In my head, I think I thought I was this Richard Pryor. I knew I wasn't Richard Pryor, but I wanted to be a English common version of Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to be a Richard Pryor? It's great. He was great. You know?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Especially when it comes to story and talking about real life. I mean, that's who I do kind of relate to the most, because he talked about real life shit, you know, and he made it funny. And a lot of my stuff is about real life shit. Up until before, I was like, you know, talking about I got arrested recently and stuff, drunk cycling, but it was actually drunk driving. But obviously, I tried this punchline drunk driving. Audience, no, they don't like that. As soon as I said I went to Top Secret Comedy Club, and if someone said, "What, you done new material at Top Secret?" I said, "I always do new material." I go, "It's fucking new material night." So I went there, but this particular time I went there and I said, "I got arrested for the first time. You ain't gonna believe what I got arrested for." And I said, and then I just said it, drunk cycling, and just that. I think it's because of the way I look as well. This fat guy being drunk cycling is something where people look and just think that's funny. And then sometimes, occasionally, people don't laugh. And if they're not laughing, I'll follow it up with, "You're not laughing because you don't believe I was cycling," you know what I mean? Or something like that. That's basically what I do.
Yeah, I mean, I got a drunk driving story as well, cyclist comedy bit as well, about, like, you know, kind of in Dublin, I got pulled over when I was cycling up Rathmines direction, and it was all true though, same, you know, and they're like, and the guard pulled me over and said, "Can you cycle in a straight line?" And I was like, well, obviously I can't. You know? But I tell you what, I fucking tried, man. I fucking tried my best. Like, I'm definitely getting my driver license taken off me. No, didn't stop me. Couldn't be bothered with the paperwork. It's fucking great. But yeah, man, same, man. But I've got a bit there now to chuck it in, man. It's good, man. This is it. Like, you know, drunk cycling, because they do put, you gotta go. Oh, got done for drunk driving on a bicycle, and then like give it a bit of time in it. But you know, that's otherwise just pull them in and take them down. Then in terms of you as a performer, then you see yourself as a drunk guy down the pub, or the guy that's on the 12-step program then now, who's also doing comedy.
Yeah, now I'll be kind of that guy. The thing is, I don't know why I did it drunk, because I actually can't perform drunk. Whenever I see myself perform my tightest step, if I see it sober, I think that's not that bad. That's all right. That's funny. I can see why people are laughing. When I'm drunk, I'm like, yeah, you're not doing it right. Your timing's off.
Yeah.
Like, I just deleted some videos today of myself online. Because you know what? I watched it back and I didn't notice it before, probably because I was drunk when I watched it. I'm actually slurring my words. Like, the words aren't coming out how they should come out, and the timing's off. But I feel like I'm back, you see a different comic, you know, like a more
faster, like you can like just keep the momentum going. For sure. It slows the mind, for sure. Yeah, one drink.
100%. Yeah, some people can do it. Some people can do it, but I just watch them suffer. I'm not one of them people.
Yeah. Writing the sitcom Diamond, you're doing the film course at the moment. You've been doing acting as well, is that right? In like the last, because I've seen a couple of posts where you got like just went, "Hey, look," you messaged some guy about this part in this thing, and you got, like, as I say, just stuff just kind of seems to just happen Like, you know, I mean, I know there's stuff going underneath, but, you know, it just, I mean, I know social media is a fucking lie anyway, but you just seem to fall into it sometimes, you know, you just go, oh, look, do you want, you know, you said that you're a bad man actor, you said, and like, you're like, all right.
Oh, that's the one that, you know what, I can't remember the bloody name of it. I can't remember the name of his script. I'm trying to think of the name of it, but I'm excited about working on that one. That's going to be fun. Can't remember the bloody name of it now, but like, yeah, no, because what it was is he was like, I need you to play this waste man, like drug dealer, you know, he's funny, but he's a bit of a waste man. Basically, he was just describing me at the age of 25.
Right.
My friend Jason was like, did you tell him about your past, like when you went to Ireland? And I said, no, I didn't tell him because I want him to think I'm a bad man actor. Like, I don't want him to know that, that he's very, it's like, it's going to be the most easiest role ever. I'm just going to play myself like 10 years ago, you know what I mean? So,
all method.
Yeah, that's what I was talking
about. Acting, mate, that's it.
Yeah, it's just, it's like this is just such an easy part. You know what I mean?
I studied so hard for the role. It's like, I've just been up all night, just stressed about it. Like, you know, I've been drinking. I'm so worried. Like, I can put, and then just smash it. That's great. I mean, that's what it is. It's just all building connections for the next thing that hopefully they kind of start.
You know what I do? You know, I mean, these guys approached me on Instagram because they saw a short film that I did. What I do, if I see a movie is coming out, that I like, or a TV show that I like, or if I watch a TV show that I like and I want to be in it, I will contact the producer. I'm crazy like that, and then I will slide in people's DMs on Instagram.
Nice.
You know, like I made a few connections and met people by doing that. So it does sound a bit far-fetched, but you've got to be a go-getter sometimes, man. If you want to do stuff, like, don't be afraid to message. Like the other day, I won't say the name, but I messaged someone. They replied back to me. You know, like, you think these people wouldn't. You think they'd ignore it. It's just crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
don't ask, you don't get, man. That's what it is, right?
I mean, ideally, what I want to do, it's not comedy. I'll always do. It'll always be a thing I do. I think now, like even as a hobby kind of thing. But I'm not this guy that wants. I mean, I think everybody would love to do live with the Apollo, but I'm saying that's not my be all and end all. What my real dream is I want to get really into the screenwriting and not necessarily in comedy. Like, I want to, like I said, become a Jedi. And that's why I'm studying it. I want to be able to. I want someone to, like, say if they're on series 2 of like whatever of a top show, I want them to be able to say, look, can you write the spec? And then they give me the treatment, and I can go away and come back to you with like a banging script. Like, that's the level that I want to get to at the moment. That's why I'm reaching out to writers. Instagram's great for that. If there's anything you want to do, like, and you want advice, like, don't be afraid to like message these people on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, because you know what, you'll be surprised how many people that can relate to you because they've been in your position. Because sometimes it feels like when you're not in the industry, it feels like you're kind of like you're outside a shop looking in a window and you see all these great things happening for people and you're just wondering, oh, how can I get in there with them? You know what I mean? I mean, I've got 2-3 more years left of learning, and even comedy. Like, you know, like, I only felt like it started coming together when the lockdown came. You know, I only just started. I mean, that was after plugging away like 3 years at comedy. I didn't have punchlines for the first year and a bit. You know,
just sold it on personality, mate. That's what it is.
Yeah, personality, all premise. There was no punchlines, no callbacks, no toppers. You know, like, I learned all that later. You know, and it just felt like it's coming together in March. So I still want to work on the comedy. That's something I want to do. You know, like, I just think the more, as they say, the more strings to your bow, the better. You know what I mean?
Damn right, man.
Like that.
Damn right. It all comes up together as well. I mean, the comedy helps you with your writing, helps with, you know, you're just like kind of working a premise, and then you're doing this screenwriting stuff. And the thing is, I love comedy, man, and just, you know, it would be wonderful if we all kind of could play that massive room at the Apollo. But, you know, there's sometimes you get opportunities, you got to take the opportunities you got. And then also the thing is, like, comedy is ephemeral. It just goes, you know, you've done it, it's gone. Like, whereas you want something to be a legacy, to stay there. So you've got, like, what you want to put your name to something that's going to be long lasting. Go, what did Ashley Gorman, like, what's he done? He did comedy clubs, great. It was, you know, it was there for a while, but you want something that's sort of like, you know, as a part of your legacy. You can, people go, well, yeah, he wrote these scripts, amazing films, whatever it is. You want to have a backlog of stuff, you know, catalog of stuff to kind of show people, you know, that's it.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm trying to get out of, like, I was telling all my friends, Like I'm trying to get out of the whole promoting thing and stuff now.
Right.
I was saying actually, to tell you the truth, I was saying that I was going to get out of it. That was until I decided I was going to do a master's.
Right.
Now I think you might see me hanging around doing a bit more because I'm going to need some kind of income.
Yeah, yeah.
So you might see me doing more than what I was originally planning to do if you'd have asked me a month or so ago. So because I think if I'm going to do a master's, I'm going to need some kind of income on the side because when you do the master's, at the moment you get grants and stuff. With the masters, you don't get the grants and stuff. So I'll need a lot more support. So you know, as you know yourself, you run nights and stuff. It's great when it goes great, but it's a ball ache. And when you're doing it 7 nights, 9 shows a week, like we was doing at Fulham and South Kensington, it's a lot of aggravation, a lot of hassle. You know, like in the last place, Fulham, which we started Fulham on the 25th of July 2020, yes. We was actually unofficially one of the first to get going again, you know, like us, Vauxhall and Frog and Bucket in Manchester. We was outside on the roof terrace at first.
Right.
But yeah, we were getting that going, and then we gradually was doing, like, in the end we was doing 6 nights a week. We didn't do 7. We didn't used to open on Tuesdays.
Slacking.
But the thing, yeah, proper slacking.
Good work,
But like
man.
the thing is, they needed a minimum bar spend. Like we needed really to be doing at least 500 quid. Yeah. So the pressure I was under at Fulham was crazy. That was another reason why I didn't want to. But we had like a nice outside sign, and we had regular customers. You know what I mean? Regular punters. So it was going well. But I don't know what's going to happen. I think what's my guess off the top of my head, I reckon we're going to open again probably in May. And I've got a feeling it's not going to open for a while. Yeah. I reckon we'll be on the roof terrace, you know, back on the roof terrace, and at least do like a few shows a week. At the moment, I'm in uni Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So that's 3 nights a week, plus all the readings I'm doing, plus my own writing. I don't want to be driving myself mad with, you know, and then people were messaging you all the time about spots. I know you've got to do that. Everyone's got to do that. But it's like, it's just too much responsibility. So, yeah, I'll probably do a few nights a week is what I'm saying, like, when we go back.
I mean, it's hard enough to do your own admin for your own gigs. Like, I mean, you've got to do like 6 nights a week, mate. I mean, honestly, I like the amount of effort and you've put into those nights that you're running. It's great, man. It's great to see that club before everything kind of fucking froze. Just to kind of get better and better, man. It was such a lovely night to play. Like, you know, the one in Kensington, such a great crowd as well, and hot crowds as well, man. Honestly, they're a young crowd, really up for anything. The more dark stuff as well, which is great. You can just play. You know, you have to go around the country sometimes. You know, playing to people that retired, and like it's fine. You got to do some stuff that works there too, but it's not the stuff that you sometimes want to get out. You know, it's like I want to get this bit out. You know, it's like you got to play for them. This is it. It was really, they're such a warm crowds, mate. Nice one. Power to you, man. It's great stuff. So hopefully May, mate. That's what the next thing is going to look into. Are you going to do 6 nights a week or 7 nights a week again?
I think it'll just be. I think we're just going to do a few nights. But it all comes down to I don't own the lease. My friend owns the lease. The club name is mine. I've got a limited company. That's all mine, and the trading name's mine. Right. But the actual building lease is in a friend of mine's name. So we'll see what he wants to do. The other thing is as well. If Stamford Bridge is open again, they can do £18,000 per game. We can't do £18,000 per show for comedy. Yeah. You know, like, so you've got to understand that we'll have to work around Chelsea Football Club fixtures. Yeah. You know, and not only that, it's a nightclub as well. So we'll also have to work around the nightclub. So, but I mean, I'm confident I could do a show like 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. and then they can have all their parties and shows, and I'll still have it packed 150 people if there's no social distancing, or if it's social distancing, people, you know. But so we'll make it work.
That's great, man. That's it. Well, yeah, man. Well, I tell you, I say this. I think I wish you good luck with the film course, mate, and hopefully you'll be able to get some back pay because they're just fucking doing it on Zoom. And you know, like, with this new sitcom you're writing, Diamond, mate, I wish you all the best with that, and hopefully I'll see you again in May when the things start thawing out and we all kind of start getting back to gigs again.
That's it,
but
mate.
Dude, thank you so much for your time. And where can we find you?
Thank you. I'm Ashley Gorman. That's the name on all my Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, a lot of them. It's just I'm Ashley Gorman, Twitter, all of them.
It can be found in like the Fulham Comedy Club or South Kensington.
Yeah, it's just Fulham Comedy Club now as well on Facebook and on Instagram and Twitter.
Mate, nice one. Power to you, mate. Good work,
all right,
mate.
Thanks a lot, mate. All right, I'll speak to you soon.
And that was episode 99 with the irrepressible Ashley Gorman. Go and find him on all the socials. Go and see him live. He runs 2 amazing nights, well attended and great fun to play. South Kensington at the Hoop and Toy, and also Fulham Comedy Club. And that's in Fulham. And he also runs his own bar now where he's got a dog, which I must go down and see how that dog's doing. It's a cute little bulldog. I love bulldogs. I've met one called Pickle once, but this isn't the same dog, but they're lovely kind of dogs. And that's Ashley Gorman anyway. So go and check him out. In episode 99. And now, if you want to follow us, we're on Facebook. You can join the Comedy Defect Facebook group. You can like the page. And you can also follow me. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram at Winter Dominus. You can also follow my stuff there to see what is happening with my journey with comedy, acting, voiceovers, and all that stuff too. And if you like this podcast enough and you want to donate, you can. Go to Patreon, type in The Comedy Defect Podcast, and donate as little or as much as you feel this podcast is worth. And if you can't donate, that's okay. Just tell your friends about your favourite episode, because it tells people where we are and what we're up to. But that's all I'm going to say for this episode, really. But next month, we've got episode 100. With an excellent comedian. He is brilliant. He came down and opened for me at the Fisheries Wharf Cafe and ripped the doors, roof, walls off. He was great. It is the wonderful Ali Woods. That's for episode 100 at the end of July. And that's it for now. We'll speak to you next month.